with that being said, Jimmy, let's go ahead and get our call started. We're going to go ahead and get this going. And everybody, welcome to the Senior Solutions Agency webinar. This is our Friday webinar that we do every single Friday. Today's date is April the 3rd, 2020. And we're going to be doing two things. One, as you can see on my screen, we're going to be rolling out this new product, Prosperity Life Group. Specifically, we're going to be talking about their final expense product, which is the new Vista product. So it's going to be some final expense product training. We're also going to kind of recap a little bit about what we talked about last week, which was telesales, and kind of do kind of a two-part call today. Continuation on that, give you guys some tips and some best practices to be working on during what we're going through with the coronavirus. But with that, Jimmy, let me turn the call over to you. If you want to go ahead and jump in and share some success stories, I think that'd be great.
Awesome. Thank you, Joe. Well, good morning, Senior Solutions. I just wanted to share a couple of success stories. Myself as an agency director and supporting my team, I don't get out in the field like I used to when I was an individual producer. And after last Friday's call talking about telesales, I'm like, you know what? I've never really done telesales. And so let me go ahead and, put my money where my mouth is and let me try this out myself. So I spent a couple of hours working Friday afternoon final expense leads, my old ones. So let's call them B leads. And sure enough, I was able to complete a transaction. I did use Liberty Bankers Life, which is a phone application, and that was all completed over the phone and got the approval. And they do have a temporary number that we're supposed to use for DIMA. So I used that number and successfully submitted the application, got it approved, got paid on it already, and it was a $10,000 face amount for like $38 and change a month. I mean, so guys, it works. And then my dad, who's also an agent, he just wrote a policy yesterday, also same carrier, for $147 a month, and at the end of the call got the hard approval. So I mean, guys, you can still make money in this current market and economy. You just have to do the legwork. And so those are the two success stories I wanted to share with you guys. And then I got some tips, after working on the phone and putting some effort into it, out came some good techniques or strategies that I want to share with you. So Joe, I'll turn the call back over to you unless you want me to continue on with that.
Let me get through a couple of slides, and then I definitely want to get into some sales training before we hop into the prosperity section. Okay, let me just get through just a couple of real quick slides I wanted to go through. First off, if you are checking us out on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. I know we have 600 or 700 subscribers. The majority of those are agents that are connected, that are selling with Senior Solutions. But even if you're not selling with us, if you work with a different broker or IMO, that doesn't mean you can't subscribe to our channel. We put out new content every single week. Our goal here at Senior Solutions is that we make 100% of our training available to the public. That's my philosophy. We don't hide stuff. We want to share with the world so everybody can get a little bit better. And we get a lot of good feedback, and I get tips from other agencies, and if I like it, we implement it into our system. So make sure you subscribe. And also, when you do subscribe, you see that arrow that goes down to that little notification bell. Click on the notification bell, and then every week we're putting out new content pretty much every single week, except for special holidays and things like that. You'll get the notification when we put out new content. So make sure that you're staying on top of it. Now, just if you are watching, again, if you're checking us out for the first time, this is the first time you've ever seen a Senior Solutions video on YouTube, I just want to kind of put things in perspective. You could be watching this 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, who knows, 10 years from now. It could be, it could be 2030 right now, and you're watching this 10-year-old video. Just to kind of put this into perspective, I want to again announce the date that we're actually filming this or reviewing this. It's April the 3rd, 2020. We are in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. I think I did my math right. According to what I saw, I think based on the first case that showed up in Seattle, Washington, I believe we're roughly in about day 79 of the coronavirus. And guys, I'm just telling you, man, I'm doing everything I can in my power to stay positive. I'm reading more books than I've read before. I'm listening to tons of audio and listening to positive motivation, how to stay positive. I know that we're going to get through this. I know it's going to be, a difficult time, but this is the time that's going to, separate amateurs from the professionals. In the Marine Corps, when I was in the Marines, we always used to have this. Marines are known for this motto, not to simplify. Simplify is the Marine Corps motto, which means always faithful. There's another motto that we talked about, which is Marines know how to overcome and adapt to their situation. So that's what we're doing. This is a daily thing. I mean, we're getting new information about how this virus is being spread. But as professionals, we need to learn how to adapt to our situation, overcome. It's important for us to stay positive and focus on the solution, not the problem. And we've got some real life solutions for you. I've been on the phone selling because I wanted to prove it to myself that you can sell over the phone, because as you guys know before, we never really advocated selling over the phone, but times have changed. Now with a lot of states, shutting down their shelter in place. I know there's a couple of states that the insurance commissioners have issued bulletins that, there's no face-to-face sales allowed. Check with your state. I'm not recommending anybody go meet with clients face-to-face where you're having physical contact. I think that would be a bad idea. So we're learning, we're evolving, we're learning new techniques on how to get over this. And here's what I say: look at this image. If you're, I know you may be dialing in, maybe you can't see this image, but if you're viewing the webinar, doing nothing is not an option. Don't be this guy, this lazy dude or this lazy gal sitting on the couch watching CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, whatever your channel is. Don't be that person that just sits on the couch all day watching TV, getting wrapped up and absorbed in the coronavirus. We've got to be proactive. And I'm gonna submit some a challenge to you guys. We're not quite ready for that yet. I'm gonna turn it back over to Jimmy and let him finish his thought process, and then I'm gonna issue a challenge for all of us to take up. So we're not this dude on the couch. We're not just sitting there letting this get into our heads. You've got to be proactive, man. There are things that we can be doing. So Jimmy, let me turn it back over to you and go ahead and finish up on some of your thoughts and some of the best practices that you wanted to talk about.
Okay, thank you, Joe. So, one of the, I guess, big, I'm going to say obstacles, not really an objection, but an obstacle of selling over the phone is going to have to do with credibility. And so if you're talking to a senior over the phone, you know, they want to make sure that you're legitimate. They don't want to be giving out sensitive information, date of birth, social, banking information to just any old caller. So they want to be cautious. And so to kind of help you overcome this obstacle, I have some things that I highly recommend you do. So the first one is you want to make a digital business card that you're able to text, primarily text or email. So most of our seniors are using smartphones. Some are still using, the old flip phone. But you need to find out if you can text it to them. Even a flip phone can take a text message and they can look at an image, right? So how do you make a digital business card? Well, first off, if you have a JPEG or some sort of digital version of it already saved on your computer, you can email that to yourself, and on your smartphone save that as an image, and then that way you can text it. Okay, if you don't have a digital version of your business card, then go ahead and take a picture of it with your cell phone and make sure that you edit and crop it so that all they're seeing is the business card. You don't want to have any background of a desk or table or something like that. So you want it to be very professional looking. And if you're using the standard Senior Solution business card, it also has a picture of yourself on it. So that's what really helps, is having that picture of yourself so they can see what you look like and they can see your business card. Then the second thing is you want to make a digital copy of your insurance license. So again, you can use the same system to do that. So now, if need be, and you feel or sense that that person has some sort of reluctance or hesitation, maybe they're not telling you exactly what it is, be proactive and bring it up. Say, now, Mr. Customer, I just want to assure you that, I am who I say I am. I'm going to text you a copy of my insurance license and a copy of my business card so you can have that on file. Another thing you can do is that you can give them the contracting phone number. So not customer service, not sales support, but the contracting phone number for the carrier that you have chosen to write with them. So obviously this part comes after you've done your health assessment. So once you've determined what carrier you're going to go with, you're gonna have that information. So have a sheet available of all the carriers that you work with, and you can text them that number, and you can invite them to give that carrier a phone call to confirm that you are an active agent with that company. I actually done this and it really worked. The next thing you can do is you can take a picture of the lead. So let's say, for example, you have a list of leads you've been calling, and maybe there's somebody you have not been able to reach. They never answer. We don't recommend leaving a voicemail, but you've attempted several times and no one ever picks up the phone. At that point, go ahead and send them a text image of the lead with a brief note as to why you're trying to contact them. And this may help you get a better response, that they would know that you're legitimate. Another tip here is if you use a carrier that offers the phone application, so they do the health assessment, they do the underwriting questions, and then they basically run the MIB and prescription history while the client's on the phone, and they come back and they're asking specific questions about their prescriptions or about their health issues. At that point, that client really has no more doubt that you're legitimate. So if you're able to stick to those, those carriers that are operating by phone, you have a much higher success rate and you're eliminating that obstacle. I just want to point out, I don't know what Joe's going to share today about Prosperity, but I will tell you with Royal Neighbors, what I really like about their format is that when you call in and you do the worksheet, they're only collecting the basic information up front and taking the health questions and doing the underwriting up front before they ask for banking or even the beneficiary, so that they want to give an approval first, and then they proceed on collecting that bank information for the draft. So I really like that. Let's see here.
Hey
And
Jimmy, let me just give the list of carriers real quick that do phone um, applications.
okay.
You already mentioned Liberty Bankers. That's one of my favorites too. Real Neighbors, I think that's super slick that you get the, they do the underwriting before they collect that information. So we have Liberty Bankers, Real Neighbors, also Americo, and then the new carrier we're rolling out today, Prosperity. All four of these carriers is a, um, voice signature application.
Yep.
Yeah, back to you.
Okay. Well, really, Joe, that was all that I wanted to share. I will say this is if you do take a paper application for some reason, um, you may want to email them this information that we talked about, your business card, your agent license, your carrier's contact information to validate that you're the that you represent that company. And then my next point is, like, if you're going to do it by email and you're going to do a paper app, you might want to provide them a fax number that they can fax the app into. And so sometimes people don't have a scanner, so for them to scan the app and send it back to you, they're going to have to go to Office Depot or Kinko's or something like that, and it's going to cost them a fortune. But if you can provide them a fax number, that might be an easier way for them to return it to you. So just have that available. There's a lot of e-fax services out there. I personally use Ring Central. I think I pay like $14.99 a month, and I've been having that account for years. And so every now and then somebody will send me a fax. It's really easy. It shows up on my computer, and basically I look at it like an email. So they fax it to me, but it comes in as a PDF via email. So back to you, Joe.
All right, man. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, moving on. Again, don't be this guy. Doing nothing is not an option. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to present a challenge to you guys. This is not the time to go out of business. I mean, this is a time we're probably going to have to work harder than we've worked before to try to get similar results. But here's kind of a formula that I came up with that I'm following to work on sales, and this is something that I recommend that you guys do as well. If you are listening to the call, write these numbers down. But this is the activity challenge during the coronavirus. Okay, first off, you should be making and these are minimums, not maximums. So just keep that in mind. Minimum, you should be making 150 dials a day. $150 a day. I'm not saying 150, you got to have 150 leads. Remember, most agents, and what I practice is the 3 dial contact formula. So if I have a lead, remember, I'm picking up the phone, I'm calling that lead, I'm letting it ring, probably the first time, maximum 3 times. I hang up, wait 2 seconds, I call right back, let it ring a couple of times, hang up. The third time, I let it go all the way until either somebody picks up or it goes to voicemail. Okay, I give them a chance. I never leave a voicemail, but that's what I'm doing. So realistically, if you just take 150 dials a day, because you could be looking at this and like, well, how am I going to make 150 dials a day. I only have 20 leads or 30 leads or whatever. That's to my other point. You're going to need a lot more leads than you've ever needed before. So you're going to have to think about those alternative lead sources in order to be able to make these dials. Think about picking up those the B leads from your insurance group for $1.50. Think about the Age Lead Store where you can pick up leads super cheap. Okay, but here, just think about this: $150 a day divided by 3. That's 50. Okay, but let's say this. Let's say I do that. I call every lead. I do that 3 times a day. Divide that by 3. That's only 16 leads. So realistically, I could have. You think about this. If I have 20 leads, let's just say I take 20 leads. I call every lead 3 times. That's 60 dials, and I go through those 20 leads. Let's say 3 times. That's $180 right there. Right there. So Justin, you got to kind of wrap your head around these numbers are not that big, but these should be your minimums: $150 a day or $750 per week minimums. So if you're dialing, let's say you're doing your 150 a day, but let's say one particular day you have a really good connection rate. So if you have a really good connection rate, it could possibly be hard to get 150 dials if you're on the phone a lot, let's say, 5 to 10 minutes with a client, whether you make a sale or not. That's why the 750 is in there in place, because it's either or. So it's important to make sure that you're doing at least 750 per week. The other number I want you to focus on is the contacts, the connections, 40 connections per week. And then next is 20 hours per week. Make sure you're doing a minimum of these. So in other words, if you did $150 a day, let's say you knocked that out, you got in your 750 per week already, but you're only at 20 connections, then you're not done. You need to keep going until you get your 40 connections. And what is a connection? A connection is where the phone ring, ring, ring. Hello, Jimmy. Jimmy says, yeah, hello. Hey, Jimmy, this is Joe with Senior Benefits, Bexar County, Texas. How you doing? Oh, I'm doing pretty fine. Are you getting along okay with the coronavirus? Yeah. I get into my spiel, click, not interested, don't call me again. That's a connection, okay? That is a connection. So make sure that we're at least, regardless of what the result is, we're able to connect with someone. We're at least able to get through part of the script, whether they're interested or not. The last is make sure you're putting in at least 20 hours a week of dial time. 20 hours a week of dial time. So in other words, if you're doing your 150 a day, and here's the reason why the 20 hours per week is so important. Let's say you're calling out a bunch of B leads and you're just blowing through them because disconnected numbers, no one's answering. Okay, you could do, let's say you're averaging 50 dials an hour. Let's see, equals. So as an example, if I take 750 per week, I divide that by $50 an hour, that only comes up with 15 hours. So that's the reason why the 20 is in there. Make sure your timing, if you got to keep like a little yellow pad, keep time of how long that you're on the phone. And 20 hours mean 20 hours. That's of actual dial time and with conversations. And I promise you, if you take up this activity challenge and you do these 4 requirements, there's no way you're not going to be able to make sales. But in combination with this, you also got to make sure that you've got leads. So, you can't purchase 100 B leads as an example and expect 100 B leads, that's $150, but that's going to last you for a month. You should be buying 100 B leads a week minimum, maybe even more. Remember, selling over the phone and when you're dialing older data, it's gonna take more leads, it's gonna take more activity. So take me up on my challenge. Activity, 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 activity. This is the only way you're going to win. Don't focus on making sales right now. Focus strictly on the activity, because if you don't have activity goals in, and all you're focused in is, oh, I got to make a sale, I got to make a sale, I got to make a sale, and you're not making sales, it can be very discouraging. Focus on these activity goals. Make sure that you're hitting all 4 qualifications. And there's no way you cannot make sales. You figure if you can make 40 connections a week, what if you just sold 5%? 5%, that's 1 out of 20. That's still 2 sales. And at $500-$600 a pop, that's $1,000 to $1,200 in AP. That's better than being the fat guy watching TV all week. What if you could do 7%? Just 7% of your connects you turn into sales. That's 3 applications. And what if you can do 10%? That's 4 applications a week. Just selling 10% of the connections that you make. Guys, do you realize here, our average sale is 650. That's $2,600 a week in AP, assuming you're at 100% comp rate. That's 2,600 times 0.75, 1950. That's 1950 net a week. Times 52. That's 100,000 a year. Following the system or the challenge that I'm presenting. So that's what we should be focused on. Now, last week we did cover, we're not going to go through this whole thing, but we did roll out our phone script. Jimmy, did you want to add anything, or do we want to role play the phone script a little bit again, or just get right into the?
No, I would say let's just move forward.
Okay, let's get into so here's what I'm going to do, guys. I'm going to fast forward through, because we did that last week. So if you weren't on last week's call, you can email me. You can go to our YouTube channel. We've got it posted, and that's all we did last week is we covered the phone. Okay, so here we go. Prosperity. Basically, as far as I can figure it out, I believe Prosperity, they really only have 2 products. The main and they're both final expense product, but the main one we're going to be covering today is the new Vista, which is it's a traditional whole life final expense product that we're very familiar with. Transamerica, Mutual of Omaha, Liberty Bankers, Americo, all, they all pretty much have a very similar product with little nuances, differentials, and how they do business, and health questions, and what health impairments they will take. But with this new Vista product, this is something that I've read in a lot of different insurance forums, and have listened to other final expense experts, and there's a lot of people out there that really rave about Prosperity. And like I said before, this is a carrier that I've been wanting to get for quite a while, and because of our partnership with Integrity, we were able to get Prosperity here at Senior Solutions with full comp. So whatever your comp rate is with the other carriers, you'll get the same comp rate here. Absolutely. This is kind of a screenshot of what their homepage of their website looks like. What I like about it is just how simple it is. Like I said, I think they really only have 2 products. Let me get a highlighter real quick, and then I'm gonna highlight just a couple of things. Let's see. That always defaults. Give me a second, guys. Okay. So when you log in, they've got the quote engine, which is really easy to get to. It's also extremely mobile friendly, so you can hop on, get quotes on your cell phone as well. Application, that's where you're going to submit a new applications, check on your policies. Contracting, when you get contracted, here's something a little bit different. When you get contracted with Prosperity, you're going to have your own contracting link. so they're not connected with SuranceBay. So if you're recruiting and you want to bring on a downline agent, you would just click on contracting, and there's links there, and then you can send that link to your new agent, and it's already coded to you with the commission level. And here's where you can look at your downlines, resources as training. They do have some very good training videos. So once you get contracted with Prosperity, definitely check out their resources and check out the training. At the end of this call, if you are interested in getting contracted with Prosperity, let me know, and we will get you the link sent out so you can go ahead and get contracted with them. I think it's going to be a great carrier to have in your portfolio. Let's just talking about why selling Prosperity, the new Vista Final Expense product. Well, very agent friendly. Here's a couple of things. They have 3 plans. It's a level, graded, or modified. Which is kind of cool is that they pay the same commission level regardless of what plan or no matter your age. Now keep in mind the age limit on this is 50 to 80. So it is somewhat restricted. They don't go to 85 like other carriers. But what's cool is that I like is that if the client does have to go graded or modified, you're not taking a haircut in commission. Like they say here, they are very diabetic friendly. This is one of the big benefits that I like about Prosperity, one of many. Smoker rates based on cigarettes only within the last 12 months. That means if your client, dips, chews tobacco, smoke cigars, smoke a pipe, if they vape like crazy, e-cigarettes, none of that counts. If they're on nicotine patches, none of that counts. Only cigarettes. The only word you only get rated for. In fact, on their application, it doesn't ask if you use tobacco or nicotine. It's are you a smoker? That's it. So that's huge. Because how many times have you gone in someone says, well, I quit, but I'm vaping now. With most of the other carriers, vaping to them is the same as cigarettes. So big differential right there. Social Security billing available. So what that means is that Prosperity is drafting your client's account when they get their Social Security check. So if it's a holiday or if the 3rd or whatever their date is, if it falls on a Sunday and the clients are getting their money on Friday, Prosperity is drafting on Friday. They are contracted in every state that we do business in. Here's the only states that they're not available in. And if you're in New York, we don't have agents in New York, so this doesn't really matter. Daily commissions, they pay quick. You get paid directly, and there are multiple options for application submission, which we will get into in just a minute. Continuing with this, user-friendly agent portal. Like I said, their agent portal is very simple. You log on, and there's only a handful of things that you can actually click on. Prosperity is very focused on the final expense market. Contracting is quick and easy. I can testify to this. Most agents are getting appointed, getting their writing numbers within 2 days of contracting, which is great. We don't have to rely upon SuranceBay for submission. We can take care of it all of ourselves. Peace of mind knowing that Prosperity is a A-rated company with AM Best. Okay, issue ages. Like I said before, ages 50 to 80. Let's see. Okay, the policy expires at age 121. The accidental benefit rider, if you're going to add that, it does fall off at age 75. So your client needs to be 74 in order to write it, but they would only get it for a year. So anyway, just keep that in mind. One thing I really like, I love carriers that do super low face amounts. 1,500. You may be thinking to yourself, why would you ever want to write a policy for 1,500? Trust me, it comes in handy sometimes when you're with a client that's in their late 70s, 80 years old, and you're sitting with them and they already have 7,000. Oh, I wish I could get a little bit more. Maybe you write 1,500, 2,500. a small policy. It's nice to have that in place where you're able to do that. The risk classes, plan the simplified issue. It's either smoker or non-smoker, and it's based on, oh yeah, I already mentioned this, about based on cigarettes only. Premiums. Premiums are based on issue, age, and gender and smoking classification. And they are obviously, they're fixed through the lifetime of the contract with cash accumulation. Now this next one's a biggie, guys. Reoccurring payments. EFT and debit cards. Prosperity, you get those clients that oh, I don't have a bank account. You know, I use this mobile. What are some of those things, Jimmy, besides the Direct Express? But like
they'll have
like the Walmart card or
net spend is what they call it.
Yeah, NetSpend, MetaBank. They take all that as well as Direct Express. So you have that, and you know, as far as I know, the only other carrier we have that takes Direct Express is Transamerica, except for guaranteed issue. Like you know, Gerber. I know Gerber takes Direct Express cards, but this is huge, man, for those clients that. Or what if you get the client, Jimmy? How about this? What if you get the client that says, "Well, I'm not comfortable giving you my routing and account number." No problem, Mrs. Client. We can do it just with your debit card.
That's awesome.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's a lot easier to cancel your debit card than it is your account number. It's a big hassle to change your whole bank account because then you got to change everything, right? But
plus, if they don't have the money for some reason, it's not a EFT charge. What do you call it? A NSF charge.
oh, and yeah, exactly. So guys, I think that's huge, man, because almost everybody that has a checking or savings account nowadays typically has a debit card associated with that. So I think that's huge that they accept debit cards. I wish all the carriers did that, but that could be a game changer.
So I have a couple of questions with that.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first one is it the same rate to the client if they use a
yeah, it doesn't matter.
Okay, and then is it the same commission to the agent?
Yes. Now the only thing is, I know with Direct Express, I think they pay as earned, but
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know if about, let's say the client does have a checking account, but they're using their debit card. I'd have to check on that, Jimmy. I didn't even think about that.
Okay. Well, getting paid as earned is a good thing too. So
I'm having more and more agents asking me, like new agents coming on board, if they could just go on as earned. It's yeah, it's not bad to have a carrier. It's not bad. I know there's a couple of carriers that I have that I request, you know, as earned on. But anyway, any other questions?
Nope.
On that? Okay. Here's one for you. How about a 10% cash bonus program? You kidding me? So Prosperity wants to pay you more money for sending them business. Now they are asking for 20K a quarter. Okay. So what is that? That's about 7 grand. 20K divided by 3, 66.6. So $6,666 a month on average would be 20K. Here's another way of looking at it. $20,000 of business. Let's say divided by average case. Let's just do 600. That's 33 cases a quarter. Divided by 3. That's 11 cases a month. Send them 10 to 12 cases a month, and you could potentially be eligible for this quarterly bonus. And then we're kind of too late for the April. But think about this: the next quarterly bonus is from 5/1. That's May 1st through July 31st. That's so they don't go exactly by the. It looks like they're 1 month off. 1 month off from the calendar quarter. So the next quarter we could potentially be able to get a 10% bonus would be from May through July. But
Well,
10%.
that's awesome because that gives people the time to get contracted, to do a little research on the carrier and get everything ready to go and be full steam ahead started May 1.
Yeah, exactly. We're already April 3rd. So I mean, basically get through April, get going, get used to making some sales, and then May, man, just bust it out and write 20K for the quarter and get an. That's like, I mean, 10% is a lot. That's and there's no maximum. So if you can write 30, 40 grand, that's an extra 3, 4 grand, in your pocket. So moving on, everybody always wants to know, well, how's their rates? How's their rates? Let's check them out. Let's just do a real quick rate comparison, Prosperity versus Mutual of Omaha. Now we kind of use Mutual of Omaha as our gold standard when it comes to carriers because, we love Moo, and typically if you have a, rate calculator like Ninja Quoter or some of these other ones, we all know that most of the time Mutual of Omaha level usually is within the top 1, 2, or 3 carriers as far as the cheapest rates. So let's just take a look here. I'm doing a mail. We're doing a $10,000 face amount, age 65, and we're doing non-tobacco. Prosperity is coming in at $58.10. Mutual of Omaha is $56.48. Guys, that's roughly less than $1.50 difference between those two. Very minimal difference. And with the underwriting, there's probably some situations where with Moo, it actually may be a graded policy, but with Prosperity, it's going to be level, and they're going to come in a lot cheaper. Or what if you got that male who's a casual cigar smoker? Well, guess what? Mutual, you got to count him as tobacco, and Prosperity not. So in that case, it would come in a lot, probably 20 to 30% cheaper because you can get them non-tobacco rates with Prosperity. Female, I use the same category, $10,000 face amount, age 65, female non-tobacco. Prosperity is coming in at $44.42. Mutual of Omaha is $41.01, so a little bit over $3, about $3.30 or so, 40 cents roughly difference. So a little bit more of a difference on female than male, but trust me, guys, $3 is not a big deal. The important thing is that what our goal is selling final expense, is that we're matching the client up, not necessarily who's got the cheapest rates. It comes down to underwriting criteria. That's what we are focused on, because who cares if XYZ company has the cheapest rates in town, but if they have the strictest underwriting. It's easy to give good rates when you have super tight underwriting and you hardly accept anyone. Prosperity is extremely liberal with their underwriting.
Plus, Joe, using Mutual of Omaha as the standard here, they don't do phone applications.
Right.
So you would have to, let's say, do an e-application and then send the e-signature via email to your client. Now, here's the problem with that. First off, most of our clients don't have a computer at home. If they have an email, it's on their cell phone, and then they're going to have trouble e-signing it on a mobile device. And I've gone through this before. It's been very painful.
Yeah, actually with Moo, you have to sign twice, because you have to do, if you're doing an e-app like this, they have to sign once, which is the HIPAA authorization.
Yep.
And then you got to send them another email for the application. So it's kind of a pain in the butt to do Moo over the phone. You can do it, but I wouldn't count on your 65 or 75-year-old client being able to figure out how to open up attachments and signing them.
Yeah. So the alternative, if you are trying to stick with Moo, is you would have to mail them a copy of the application. and they would have to sign it and mail it back. So, I mean, you
Yep.
can't get it done that way, but think about the amount of time that's involved in that. And particularly, it's out of your control on their end. You're at, their, I guess you can say, mercy of getting it back to you in a timely manner.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Phone during this, during this crisis, man, phone application definitely the way to go. Um, even if you're door knocking, I mean, even if you're doing it like you're doing the approach where you're door knocking but keeping your distance and still doing it over the phone, you're still going to want to have a phone application. Just a couple of real quick things on underwriting. Let's see, I'm not going to talk about underwriting. They do have an accelerated death benefit. It's not available in California. I believe it entitles the client to 50%. And then we talked about the accidental death benefit rider, which is optional. One thing that's different about them is that their accidental rider is available on all three plans. So whether it's level, graded, or modified, they can still get the accidental, which is with most carriers, that's not allowed. So that's kind of an exception. Just keep in mind the accidental rider is only good until age 75. So which is not very long. Again, we talked about they have 3 levels of coverage. They have level, graded, and modified. Level is just like the other carriers as compared to like Mutual of Omaha. Level means is that it's first day coverage. The death benefit is equal to the face amount. Accelerated death benefit is up to 50%, and the optional accidental will give them twice. It's 1 times the face amount. So if they take 20, if they choose the accidental rider, it'll give them 20,000 of coverage, death due to an accident. Graded. Now here's the thing that can sometimes be kind of confusing. This is kind of like the old like foresters, how foresters used to do theirs before they changed their qualifications, or they changed how they selected it, or I can't think of the right word right now. But so with them, typically when we hear the word graded, we automatically assume, oh, graded 2-year reduced death benefit with return of premium. With Prosperity, graded's a little bit different. Graded is their second best level. So if they were to pass in the first year, they're going to get 30% of the face amount. So as an example, if you're selling a $10,000 policy and they have to go graded, they still are entitled to a $3,000 death benefit. In year 2, it's 70% of the face amount. And then once they get into the third year, which means it's, they're 24 months in 1 day, that would be considered the third year, it's the full amount. And then modified is what we normally think of as like a graded policy. That's, and if they die in the first year, it's 110% return of premium. In the second year, it's 200, is that right? 231% of the annual premium. How would that work? Let me see, what does that mean? That seems like a weird number, right, Jimmy?
Well, if they're paying, let's say $500 a year for the annual premium, then basically the return on that is going to be, let me see here, $1,155 is going to be the death benefit.
Got it. Okay, I guess that makes sense. I've just never seen it in writing like that. So basically, they're going to get a little bit over twice the amount from the 10%, and then going into the third year, it's going to be full face amount. What's kind of cool about this is that all 3 plans have the accelerated death benefit, and you can also add the accidental rider as well, which is pretty cool. Okay, getting qualified. The Prosperity, the new Vista is a cascading application. It's like what we're used to. I'll just give you some examples. If you're like Transamerica, it's a cascading application. Liberty Bankers, cascading application. Foresters, cascading application. I'm going to show you a different slide that may make it a little bit easier to understand. When you're looking at the health questions, there are 6 knockout questions with this. So in this first section right here, if your client were to answer yes to any of these questions, they're not going to be eligible for coverage. Okay? If in part B, this section right here, if they answer yes to any of these questions, then they may be eligible for the modified. That's the one with the 2-year return of premium policy. In the last section, if they answer yes to anything in the last section, it's going to be qualified as graded. And again, graded gives you 30% of the face amount in year 1, 70% of the face amount in year 2. Very easy to understand or look at when you look at it like this, how a cascading application works. Face-to-face sales. I'm not going to really cover this, so I'm going to kind of skip over this. But if you are doing face-to-face sales, you can either do a paper application, you can do the e-application, or you can do the voice application. I want to specifically jump in and just talk about selling over the phone. So this is the application process for non-face-to-face sales. An application can be taken without an in-person meeting with your client and still approves the opportunity to receive underwriting decision at the point of sale through the Aptical Live App portal. So when you log on, and I'll show you how to do this, when you log on to your Prosperity website, if you click on that tab that says application, it's automatically going to take you to this link. You do need to be registered with Aptical. So you need to get registered, get your password and everything. New Vista, signatures captured by voice, no email or internet connection required by the client, which is awesome. Now this one does work a little bit different than like a Liberty Bankers where you do 100% of it over the phone. This one, as the agent, you're going to do some initial work on your computer. This way, when you call Aptical already has all your client's information. And this is what the screen looks like. So when you log into your portal, you're going to click right here and you're going to go to applications to start a new application. Then I've got basically some screenshots. We're going to pick out our product, the state. I'm kind of skim through this. Once you get your credentials for the Prosperity website, they have a really awesome training video that walks you how to do the voice signature, and they even call into Aptical so you can hear exactly how the phone call goes with Aptical. It's one of the best training videos I've ever seen from a carrier. But you're going to start here, answer all just the basic questions, and date of birth, male, whether they smoke or not, how are you doing the premiums, you're doing a monthly, select your face amount, gives you the results of what the premiums are going to be. Click the calculate button, and you're just going to move on. One quick note, payor must be the proposed insured or the owner, which is not a problem. Typically when we're writing applications, I'd say 99% of the time, the proposed is the owner, or the proposed is the payor of the policy. Basically what they're saying is that you can't have someone pay for the policy that is not the insured or the owner. So as an example, let's say you're writing, let's say you're doing a husband and wife, and I've had this happen before where all the bank account information is in the wife's name. The husband isn't on the bank account. So in that particular case, for her to be the payor, she would also need to be the owner of the policy as well. Hopefully that makes sense. So we're just going to go through these, and we're going to answer all the health questions. Now, just talking about sending them disclosures, if you can get an email from your client, you can go ahead and email your client the generic disclosures, which will make the interview process a little bit quicker, but it's not necessary. If your client doesn't have an email, or they're not, they don't have internet service, don't worry about it. We're going to do it all over the phone, okay? Make sure you're collecting their social security number, their date of birth, all this stuff. Now remember, before we're getting into the applications, we've already closed them on, we've already done our field underwriting. We've already selected, hey, Prosperity is going to be my best bet. And at this point, you should have already kind of gotten their social security number and their banking information. So it'll make this part go a little bit faster. Here you're just typing in how they're going to be paying. Like I said, most of this I'm going to go through pretty quick. Future payments are allowed up to 35 days from the date of the application, and then you're going to draft between the 1st and the 28th, or when they get their Social Security. We can draft checking savings via EFT, debit card, or Direct Express MasterCard. Please double check the account number to make sure that it's valid, okay? Moving on. See, these are just screenshots, guys, so it's a very, very simple process that you're going to go through. Your agent information will automatically pre-populate, so you're not going to have to fill this in. It's already going to be there because you're doing this through your portal. Now, here's something that's a little bit unique, that's a little bit different from some of the other carriers. Once you've typed in all the information and you've submitted it through Aptical, you're going to get a number. It says, please write down the application number. So when you get this, you take down this number. That's not their application number, but that's the Aptical number. From here, all you need to do is call in to Aptical, extension 1, to complete the interview process. When you get on the phone, Aptical is going to ask you, you're going to give them the Aptical ID number. Once you give them that number, it's automatically going to pull up all the client's info. And so all they have to do is really just verify. Instead of you having to give Aptical, spend 10 minutes going all that information, it's already going to be there. Okay, it's a huge time saver. So here, what to expect during the Aptical interview. Now you do need to stay on for the entire call. You're gonna validate your part, then they're gonna get the client on there. Aptical will conduct a consumer identity verification check. You'll be notified if additional ID documents are required. Typically, that's never required. Aptical will ask the proposed insured if they have received the email document and the disclosures. Now, if you didn't email them, that's no big deal. You're just going to say, no, the client doesn't have an email. Okay, no problem. All Aptical will do is just going to play a recording, which is the disclosures, and your client just has to listen to the recording and then just agree. And then Aptical will ask all the application medical questions that will run through the MIB and prescription checks. And if you noticed let me just back up here real quick to the actual application. It goes pretty quick. These are very short medical questions compared to some of the other carriers. So you should not be on the phone for very long. Let me kind of fast forward here. Now, I haven't done one of these yet. So, I've gone through the training. My job is to get as much information as I can about Prosperity so I can educate the field force, bring this product to you. Hey, listen, I'm not an expert on Prosperity, but from what I see, I really, really like them. They've got some really cool niches that I think where, a lot of cases, they're going to be the carrier you're going to want to use for certain situations with with your clients. Once you've completed it, then you can go in and when you search your applications, it's very easy. It looks like it's very easy for you to track all of your business. And once the aptical phone interview is done, the business is placed, you should be getting paid pretty quick from Prosperity. And let me see what else I've got. Okay, so I did go ahead and I updated the cheat sheet. So if you see right here, we've got Prosperity listed right here. We're just going to kind of go through the cheat sheet real quick and just look for some highlights. For the most part, in a lot of situations, they're pretty much equal with the other carriers, like heart attack. Only a 2-year look back for heart attack. Heart surgery, only a 2-year look back. Stroke, only a 2-year look back. Congested heart failure, only a 2-year look back. That's kind of unique too, because on a lot of carriers, if you read their application, it doesn't ask, have you been treated or diagnosed with congested heart failure in the last 2 years? It asks the question, have you ever been treated? Now, granted, in a lot of situations, if a client has congested heart failure, they are on medication for the rest of their life. There have been some situations, though, that I personally have ran into where someone, they were taking the diuretic for congested heart failure. They took it for 5 or 6 years and they were able to get off of it. What's nice about Prosperity is that if they haven't been on the med, not treated, they can still get a level benefit. Or if you look at, let's see, Moo is declined, Forrester's declined, Liberty Banker's declined, Americo, you have to go graded issue, Royal Neighbors is declined. If they've ever in their lifetime been treated for congestive heart failure, they are pretty relaxed on AFib or irregular heartbeat. Pacemaker, as long as the pacemaker was installed over 2 years ago, they're okay with it. Battery changes, as far as I know, not a problem with that. Again, we're taking a look. Let me circle this so we can see. Prosperity, COPD, not the best. But you may want to take a look. Let's say you got the client who's got COPD and they're still smoking. Or let's say they're that may be not a good case. COPD, but now they're vaping as an example. Well, maybe Prosperity's graded product is better than another carrier that is COPD friendly but considers vaping as nicotine or cigarettes. So just something to think about there. Oxygen use, if they're on oxygen now, it's going to be a decline, but as long as they haven't used it in a year, they're going to get a level benefit. Alzheimer's, like most carriers, it's a decline. Bipolar depression, schizophrenia, they're not so friendly there for some reason. It's going to be graded. It's a 70-30 benefit. Parkinson's, again, 70-30 benefit on that. Cerebral palsy, hey, we don't run into it that often, but as long as they don't need help with activities of daily living and they're not permanently confined to a wheelchair, you can still get a level benefit with cerebral palsy. With a lot of carriers, it's decline. Same with multiple sclerosis. So they're relatively relaxed with neurological disorders other than Parkinson's. Diabetes, they're fairly relaxed with diabetes, except for complications. What they do include neuropathy. So if your client is taking, gabapentin or some other medications for neuropathy, it's not going to be the best carrier. But they really don't care. They don't really care when your client got diagnosed. There's no age limit. So, they could have been diagnosed with diabetes as a child, as long as they didn't develop complications like neuropathy, and then obviously, diabetic coma or insulin shock. Those are typically knockouts, but they're going to be level as far as that. Kidney dialysis, they have a 2-year look back. So if you're, let's say your client was really, really sick, had to go on kidney dialysis temporarily, they're able to get off of it. As long as it's been over 2 years, you can still give them a level benefit. Let's see, renal insufficiency, no treatment. This is wrong. This should actually be a level benefit here. So I'll correct that. But if your client currently, as long as it's not kidney dialysis, but if they currently have, kidney issues, they could potentially still get graded, depending on the medication. Pretty much as long as they're not on dialysis, they can have some kidney issues and still get that. Liver problems like hepatitis B, C, chronic liver disease or hepatitis, best we're probably going to be able to do is grade it on that client. Okay.
Hey Joe, do you know on the liver, like hepatitis C, does it have to be like let's say treated or cured for a certain time, or they can currently have it?
No, they can currently have it, but they're going to get graded.
Okay.
Yeah. And the other thing too, guys, Prosperity is pretty responsive. I've been emailing them back and forth. They have if you want to take this down, they don't have an underwriting department that you can call into and get a risk assessment. But if you email to underwriting and then the number 2, so it's underwriting the number 2 at prosperitylife.com, they are pretty quick to respond for risk assessment. So if you can give them the condition and the medication, the more information you can get them. I emailed them yesterday about a client, and they emailed me back within about 10 minutes with my answer. So they are pretty responsive. Again, moving on with Prosperity, cancer. They have a 3-year look back for cancer. If it's less than 3 years, they can still get modified. If it's current or it's in the last year, it's going to be decline. Lupus, the best you're going to be able to get is graded on lupus. Wheelchair use, here's another big one. Level benefit, if they have a wheelchair or a walker or a scooter, as long as they're not confined to it. If they're permanently confined to a wheelchair, that typically means that they're needing help with activities of daily living as well, which is going to be a decline. Blood thinner, I looked up every blood thinner that I could find and their prescription checklist. All of them passed through, so they seem to be very blood thinner friendly. As far as a build chart, they do have a build chart, but it is on the higher range, meaning they are relatively liberal. So on our cheat sheet, we use for all carriers, if you can see, we use a standard height of 5'8", because that's kind of in the middle. It's not real tall, but it's kind of, you can kind of use your judgment. But 5'8", 292 pounds is okay for level benefit. So as you can see here, that's the same as Forrester's, and it's better than Transamerica, Mutual of Omaha, better than Americo, better than CFG, better than Oxford. The only one that has a more liberal height and weight chart is Liberty Bankers, and of course Royal Neighbors, which has no height and weight. So if you got that client who's super chubby, obviously we're going to want to go Royal Neighbors. Phone interview, it says required, only because we're talking about doing phone sales. Then also put in here, we got a new thing we're adding to the cheat sheet is our phone sales available. So again, we got Transamerica, Mutual of Omaha that say yes, but it's e-app, e-signature only. We have Liberty Bankers, we have Americo, we have Royal Neighbors, and now Prosperity. And then that's the phone number for Aptical to be able to get that done. So if you do have questions, if you need to contact agent support, here's the phone number. So Jimmy, any questions that you can think of before I move on? Because I very quickly want to cover their term product as well.
Yes, Joe, I have another question regarding graded. How are the rates? Did you do any kind of
Oh, they're
comparison?
high. Yeah, they're a little bit on the high side. I did do a comparison.
So not
Not
the modified, but the graded, the 30/70, that is
Yeah,
kind of
it's
high.
high. Yeah, it's a little bit on the high side. Um, so you'd really have to figure out why they're getting graded. And with prosperity, like I would use their graded in the case where maybe another carrier, they would be like they're graded or even declined.
Hmm.
But they wouldn't be necessarily like my go-to carrier for for a graded death benefit. And a lot varies on the age of the client too. So or the face amount. So if they're only looking for you know 5 to 7,000, it's not going to be dollar wise, it's not going to be that much higher. When you get into the bigger face amounts is when you're going to see the bigger difference. I don't have a like a comparison to show you, but I want to show you their other product that is very uh, priced out very well. That may be an alternative. But did you have another question other than the graded?
That's it.
That's it. Okay. Um, so guys, our philosophy here at Senior Solutions is we always want to do what's best for the client. And so, take a look at if all they can do is get qualified for graded with prosperity, take a look why. See if you can find, take a look at the other carriers that do phone apps. Take a look at Royal Neighbors. Take a look at Liberty Bankers. See if potentially, maybe with Liberty, maybe you could get them a standard rate versus having to go graded. Um, that's going to be important. We always want to do what's best for the client, get them the most coverage for the less expensive premium. So Prosperity has another product, and it's called their prime term to 100. What this is it's a yeah, I guess you could say it's a final expense product. It's geared for clients that are in not the best health and probably more than likely have a life expectancy of less than 20 years. Okay. Now, here's the reason why I say that is because the prime term to 100 means is that it's a term insurance that is good into age 100 with level benefits. So in other words, Jimmy, if I sell you $10,000 and the premium, let's say, is $55 a month, and let's say you're 65 years old, as an example, that premium of $55 a month is going to be level all the way to 100. What's not level is the death benefit. The
So
death benefit,
level premiums.
what did I mix it up?
Yeah. So you got level premiums. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, level premiums to age 100, but the face amount, the death benefit, is only level for the first 20 years. That's why I say this is an ideal product for someone that is not in real good health and like nobody in their family's ever made it past the age of 80 or whatever. They all die young. And this person has, they're not healthy. Um, so what happens at the end of 20 years is that it's a decreasing face amount after 20 years, and it goes down by 5% a year until age 100. And at age 100, if they were to make it to age 100, the policy would terminate. There wouldn't be any coverage left. So this is why this product is ideal for people that are not in great health, because there's only 3 health questions, and they probably have a life expectancy of 20 years or less. So here are the three health questions. Like I said, there's only 3 health questions. Here they are. If we want, we can go through it real quick. Within the past 2 years, have you been confined or been advised by a licensed medical professional to be admitted to a nursing home, hospital, extended care, special treatment facility, required the use of oxygen equipment, assist with breathing, or you have ongoing personnel assistance performing, okay, activities of daily living, which we talked about, which is eating, bathing, dressing, toiletries, transfer, walking, or continence. That's the first health question. The second health question is they want to know within the past 2 years, have you been diagnosed or treated by a member of the medical professional with any type of cancer, excluding skin cancer like the basal or squamous cell cancer? Have you had a heart attack, myocardial, how do we pronounce that, infraction, heart surgery, cardiomyopathy, congestive heart failure, stroke, Alzheimer's, dementia, Alzheimer's disease or dementia, or ongoing major organ transplant surgery? That's in the last 2 years, okay? Or have you been advised by a licensed medical professional you have a life expectancy less than 2 years? So really, there's only 2 health questions with the caveat of, do you have a life expectancy of less than 2 years? So as long as they answer no to these questions, they're going to be approved. So it's not guaranteed issue, but as you can tell, there's really only 2 major health questions on here. And then they take the same billing information. You can do the direct express. You can even, I'm not sure how this works, but it looks like you can even do direct bill too, which we don't do that very often. I'm not sure if you can do it monthly or not, but it looks like they will take direct bill. Now here's how the rates stack up, okay? And we can compare this to another carrier if you want. Let's just take a look at, I'm going to draw a line under age 65 because that's kind of in the middle. Oh, by the way, the issue ages are age 40 to age 80. So they go down 10 more years. So let's just do kind of right here, age 65. If I can draw a nice line. It's always kind of a challenge with the mouse. Okay, so let's just go to the $10,000 face amount. $10,000 face amount for male age 10,000, or 10,000 face amount age 65 male, $79 a month. Okay, now I don't know, how's that compared to like Gerber as an example? Let me just pull it up on my phone real quick. Let's see, state, Illinois.
Well, let me compare it to Mutual of Omaha real quick, Joe. So on the Living Promise graded age 65, 10,000 is $64.77.
Got it. Okay. But let's say if they have to go, let's just compare it to guaranteed issue real quick. Oh, just speaking about Mutual of Omaha, out of all the carriers, they by far have the lowest rates with graded. Because I don't know how many months ago, because their graded plan, what they did is they had so many agent complaints about their direct mail program, is that they matched the rates of their guaranteed issue. So I don't know if you knew that or not.
Yeah, but so looking at that, it's in the same price range.
Yeah, did you do male or female?
Male.
Oh, and what was it?
Let me go back to it. So I think it was 64.77. Hold on.
So it's a little bit, well, it's so Mutual's coming in a little bit cheaper then.
No, Mutual's coming in higher. Mutual's coming in at $64.77, and this is coming in at $64.16.
That's for a female.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong line. Okay, you're
Yeah.
correct. So,
Yeah. It just that I think mutual has more knockout questions in the first part than they do here. Let's see here. Age 65, male. Yeah, I want to compare it to so as an example with Gerber, age 65, $10,000 for a male is $85 a month.
hmm
So this would be definitely a better and probably a better pay plan as well, because I think with new prime it's about a 20% roughly a 20% reduction in commission from the final expense. So as an example, if you're at 100% with final expense, you'd still be at an 80-point contract with this product versus, having to go guaranteed issue, you may be at, 55 or 60%. Um, so definitely cheaper than going guaranteed issue. So I just wanted to roll this out just to say, hey, they do have another product that that instead of going guaranteed issue, look at this and see if they can answer no to those 2 or 3 health questions before you move on.
so Joe, can I summarize? Can you go back to that last chart?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Oh, hang on. I'm going the wrong way.
think about this, guys. If
There you go.
a 65-year-old individual and they're going with a $10,000 death benefit, that death benefit is good for 20 years. So it takes them to age 85. Same death benefit, same premium. When they turn 86, the death benefit's reduced by 5%, or let's call it $500. So at age 86, it's still a $9,500 death benefit. And
Yeah.
so at age 87, then it goes down to 9,000. So this will carry on, and it's still going to be a great policy, very affordable. And I mean, for somebody that wouldn't qualify for any other program, I think this is, a great product. The chances of somebody only qualifying for this or guaranteed issue lasting beyond 20 years is probably very slim.
Yeah, exactly. One of the other benefits too, Jimmy, is that you can sell this over the phone just like you can the new Vista.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it's very similar process. You go through the exact same process. So here's where it talks about. Let's see, prime term, simplified issue graded death benefit, term policy renewable to age 100. At the end of the 20-year term, the premium remains level and the death benefit is decreasing annually up to age 100, which time of the policy expires. This policy has been designed for customers who are in less than perfect health, but who have a life expectancy of several years. It's affordable, protection to age 100. Premiums are guaranteed never to increase. Very simple application, no medical exam, only 3 health questions. Let's see if I have anything else. Okay, issue ages we talked about. Oh, you can actually add the accidental on here as well. I didn't know that. Face amounts are from 5 to 30,000. Rate class, let's see, simplified is a smoker plan is simplified issue. Oh, so there's no smoking or, so you could take as an example, well, no, mutual wouldn't be a good idea. You could take a look at some of the other plans where maybe they could get graded, but if they're a smoker, sometimes it drives the cost of the plan up astronomically. Whereas with this plan, it doesn't matter if you smoke or not, it's one premium for everybody. And then premiums are based on the age and gender only and are fixed through the lifetime of the contract with cash value accumulation. So this actually does have cash value accumulation, and they do accept the Direct Express card. Let's see what else I got. Oh, no. This is, I'm on the wrong slide. This is for, somehow I snuck in the wrong, or maybe not. Hang on. I'm confused now. Oh, no, this is it. This is it. Okay. My bad. I thought this was a duplicate of, okay, so this is how it works. On the term product. First year, if they pass away in the first year, it's return of premium plus 5%. If they pass away in the second year, depending on their age, they're either going to get 30% of the face amount or 40%. In year 3, it's either going to be 60% or 70% based on that. After the third year, it's full face amount. Uniformly decreasing annually until expire of it's to 5% of the face amount in the year preceding the expiration. So once they've been through the 20 years, is what Jimmy was saying, the face amount's going to go down 5% a year. And let's see, accidental death. For accidental death occurring during the first 3 years, the base death benefit is the full amount. So if they were to pass due to an accident in the first 3 years, even without the rider, it's still going to pay out 100%. So just another product to add in. You know, I think it potentially could have a lot of potential to help your clients get maybe some better coverage for a lower premium. And with that, Jimmy, that's all I got, brother. We really ran over, but sometimes when you roll out a new product, it takes a little bit longer than what you expect. So any other comments or any other things you want to talk about before we let everybody go?
Well, I'm excited about it, Joe. You sent me the link yesterday. I submitted my contracting, so I'll do some my own research when I get appointed, and then I'll make some calls this coming week and see if I can write some business using Prosperity and give you a success story.
All right, sounds good. Guys, just remember the challenge that I put up there, the activity challenge. Don't focus on the results right now. Focus on your activity. Activity is going to, during this challenging time, I promise you, activity is going to win the race. Do the activity, make sure you have the people to call and do the activity, and you will see the results. With that, everybody have a great weekend. God bless everybody. Please be safe. If you need anything, myself or Jimmy, we're just a phone call away. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.